Welcome to Echoes of Impact with Noura. This is your host, Noura Almasri. Welcome to the show. I'm excited to come talk to you again. I love Tuesday because I talk to you on Tuesday. So I want to hear from you. Send me your messages to my email, hello@echoesofimpact.net, hello@echoesofimpact.net. I want to hear from you. So today we have a great show. We have a lot of amazing guests. We're going to talk about business, taxes, and nonprofits. We're going to cover it all. So stay with us until the end. This is the information we bring here is to educate you so you can be aware of what you need to do or who do you need to hire for your business, what do you need to do in terms of your taxes, nonprofit, anything that you want to create an impact. We want to support you. This is what we have. This show is here for you. So stay tuned and be with us all the time. We're already in October. Can you believe that? It's October, so almost ending the year. Hopefully you have done your taxes already. If you are in C corporation or you have an LLC or for your individual taxes, if you have not done yet your taxes, if you did an extension earlier this year, make sure you file by October 15 because you don't want to get penalty, right? So make sure you file. Reach out to a professional, reach out to myself, like at nourasbooks.com. You can connect with me and my team. Now, one thing I want to make sure you are aware of, if you are in nonprofit, you want to make you are taking advantage of this year-end giving because this is the opportunity to end the year strong and also to start strong for the next year. So you can have more donors, you can have more funding available for you, more people hearing about you. So make sure you are aware of that. You are preparing for the year end and working with your team, with your consultants, with your board members to make sure you have a great year end. Also, for you as a nonprofit, you want to make sure you file your taxes on time. That means if you are in a calendar year, your taxes due on May 15. But if you have done an extension, it means you already have 6-month extension, but that means it's due on November 15. For those of you who the school year ends on June 30, that means you have to file your taxes by November 15. If you made an extension, if you're not ready by November 15, you can do an extension only if you are on the school year, meaning that's ending, your year is ending on June 30. So this is very important to be aware of to make sure you are not penalized because yes, you are a nonprofit, get penalized too. So enough with the taxes. We're gonna end with taxes and what you do if you have a problem with taxes. But now I want to talk about funding for you in nonprofit. What do you do in order to get funding? There is a great opportunity right now for you to raise your funding from the individual donors. Individual donors like you and me. Those are the best supporter for your organization. As long as you're reaching out to your individual donors, your ideal donor, and I want to emphasize ideal donor. Ideal donor is someone who, if that person were to start a nonprofit, they will start the exact same organization you have already started. You want to find these people. You want to identify where do you find them and how to get their attention. You want to make sure you are reliable so they can trust you, they can support you. You want to think if you were to not to be that founder for the organization and you were to donate to yourself, like, or that executive director that is currently you, but pretend that's not you. Would you donate? Would you trust to donate? So if not, see what action you have to take in order to be trustworthy for other people to support you. And I don't mean that you're gonna steal the money or something. I mean like how to manage the money, how to make sure you do what you are saying you're going to do. So everything, are you in compliance? Are you making sure you are taking care of your bookkeeping, your tax compliance, your state compliance, your federal compliance, all of these things? Are you making sure you are in compliance with everything so you don't have any headache later, or you have to spend that fund that you raised from your donors on penalty instead of just doing what you have to do in operation and making sure you continue the campaigns that you or serving your beneficiaries. So you want to make sure you're doing the right thing. You want to make sure you are working with the right people. And the great opportunity you're having by year end, starting now, you have to plan from it now. That's why I've prepared a challenge for you. It's a Giving Tuesday challenge to make sure your Giving Tuesday is profitable. So if you are looking for a profitable Giving Tuesday, and that is the first Tuesday after Thanksgiving, make sure you join my challenge. It's going to be at the end of the month, October 28th until November 1st. I will go through everything that you need to know in order to get the money that you need in order to get the attention of people you need them to help you, so you can have a profitable Giving Tuesday campaign. And you can simply go register at profitablegivingtuesdaychallenge.com. profitablegivingtuesdaychallenge.com. So again, it's profitablegivingtuesdaychallenge.com. We have like 2 different levels, so you can register and you can stay with me for 5 days virtually. So wherever you are, you're going to be able to attend. It's all on Zoom and Facebook groups. So you can implement the strategies and learn the strategies I have implemented myself to raise millions of dollars for nonprofits from individuals. So make sure you get there, make sure you register, let other people know, those who might be benefiting from this. Make sure you do it now. All right. So that's it. That's enough. Make sure you take advantage of Giving Tuesday. Even if you decided not to join the challenge, this is something you do not want to miss, because you're going to raise awareness about the cause that you are caring about your organization. You're going to attract a lot of donors. Okay. So that's it. I can't wait to talk to my guests after the break. I have 3 amazing guests. Some of them you've already heard from, and some of them just came here for the last time. And I want you to hear from them, to learn from them, to get motivation from them. How can their story or their services impact what you are doing? Whether you are a nonprofit, whether you are in business, you can all make an impact the way you where you are and the way you see the world is, because you are unique. I am unique. Everyone is unique. So you can put your touch on what you are teaching, on what you are providing. But it always helps when we see other people successfully done something, or we hear from industry experts. Not everyone, for example, will go and get updated from the tax code, right? Not everyone knows like what grants are available. Not everyone knows like how operation should look like. So, but you as a project manager, being a business, being a nonprofit, even for your life, you have to have a great understanding for a lot of the area. At least when you want to work with someone, be it hiring someone in-house or working with a consultant, so you know what to ask for, you know what to look for. So stay tuned, be here with me. And this is your host, Noura Almasri. And this is Echoes of Impact with Noura. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is your host, Noura Almasri, and this is Echoes of Impact with Noura. I'm really excited to continue the conversation with my friend Rosetta today about the building blocks for the effective boards. We spoke about almost everything in the last few episodes, and we are talking about the remaining of the building block of effective board. So stay with us so we can hear from Rosetta. I don't want to break it down for you. So I'm going to let Rosetta unwrap it and then let you know what is it all about. Rosetta, welcome back to the show. How are you doing today?
I am wonderful, Noura. Thank you so much for having me.
Of
I'm sorry.
Of course. Of course, it's always a pleasure to have you. So before we start diving in, a lot of people might have missed, they just discovering about the Echoes of Impact today, maybe. So they maybe missed you the last few episodes. So if you can tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, and then we can dive right back in about on the building blocks.
Perfect. Well, as you mentioned, Noura, my name is Rosetta Williams. I currently sit in the founder and CEO position at Right Touch Consulting, where our mission is to uplift and empower nonprofits to do great works in their community. So I'm so excited to be here and to share with you all today about this exciting topic for me, the building blocks of an effective board.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rosetta. So we spoke about diversity and inclusion, recruiting and onboarding. And if you want to give us a little overview about these, like really quick, and then we can dive right back into the training and development.
Oh, that's perfect. So, as you mentioned, we've already had some conversation about diversity, equity, or diversity and inclusion, as well as recruitment and onboarding. These are the things that I believe are at the heart of a strong and sustainable organization, right? With diversity and inclusion, it is about inviting the right people to sit on your board. And when I say right, I mean the diverse group of people to bring in those diverse perspectives, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not only to enhance your board, but also those diverse perspectives enhance what you can do in the community because you're actually reaching the need and showing up for the community in the way they need you to, not in the way you think. And in order, once you've kind of established that you need that diversity and inclusion, it's important to look at that recruitment and onboarding. If you have a process to do it, a process to make sure that you are getting the right people with the right skill set and the heart to do the work, right? Because that's so important. Ensuring that there is a commitment to that organization, to that commitment, and they want to show up. And finally, so now this brings us right into training and development. Now, so you've got
Yeah, so I want to tell the folks over there who are watching us now, if you want to dig more into these two topics and to those building blocks, you can go ahead and watch the two previous episodes where Rosetta gave us like more details about these two topics. And now we're ready to talk about the last.
All right. So training and development. This is what I believe to be one of the third building blocks to help your organization build a solid foundation, right? I believe that continuous learning is the key to maintaining a vibrant and informed board. If your board actually knows what's going on, not just within the organization, but what's happening in your town, your city, what's happening in the trends of finance and in other areas of nonprofit stewardship. All right. So when you offer this ongoing training in things such as governance, finance, and strategic planning, this ensures that your board is equipped to make those sound decisions that you're asking them to make. So
yeah, absolutely.
right, when you don't want people to be out there willy-nilly, not knowing what to do and making decisions because they think that's what they're supposed to do. So when you have this training and development, you're encouraging your board members to show up in a way that it's informed and it has their finger on the pulse of what's really happening.
Absolutely, because often I see people complaining, my board members are not active, they're not doing what I want them to do. But when you dig down into what's the problem, really, there is no training, there is no setting expectation. It's not only with the board, it's actually with the staff as well, like whether be it a nonprofit, a company, like there's no clear training and communication. Usually, like in the corporate or big world, like they give them like, okay, here's the binder, what you have to do. And even those are not updated, but it's better than just like throwing someone into the world like where they don't really know what to do. I'm just sitting on the board. I
Exactly.
can't agree more.
And that's one of the interesting things about board leadership. It's one of these jobs that we take on that we join these boards because we have a heart for what they're doing, but then we get there and we're like, well, what am I supposed to do? Who's on first? We're willy-nilly. We have no clue what's happening. And so when we are able to create a space where again, with recruiting and onboarding, giving them the tools to be successful, and then the training and development helps them to continue to be successful. It helps them to truly understand, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. It sparks those ideas of creativity. And as board members, you are the creative force that drives your organization. And so if you are creating from an empty cup, I'd say, or just because that's what you think you're supposed to be doing, it doesn't allow you to really come with anything fresh and innovative, right? That's what we're looking for. If we want our organizations to move beyond just being settled with, oh, we got a $2 million budget and that's what we've had for 10 years and it's okay, you'll stay in that $2 million budget range because no one is being trained on how do we think outside of this box? How are we able to show up and bring something that can enhance what we're doing?
And I know that you are offering a new service where you train the board to do that, not only from outside world. Like, can you tell us a little bit more what you can do to help those board members get into the next level?
Well, thank you, Nora. That's a great point. So I truly believe, as I said, that the board they are the innovative force. And so if they don't have the additional education or they don't have this type of outside kind of, hey, have you thought about this? Because that's really what it's about. I feel like they're not able to move into that greatness that they're there for. So with the board training that Right Touch offers, we are able to get in there and help the board come together cohesively and come together collaboratively and say, oh, now this is my understanding and this is yours. How do we help those come together to grow something amazing? It's like making a stew. Everybody's bringing a little bit. You got the carrots, I got the celery, who got the potatoes, So when I'm thinking of board development and training, it can be done in a multiple ways. And Right Touch is able to offer workshops and seminars and peer learning, really keeping everyone's individuality, but turning that individuality into a strength of collaboration and collective. Well, I don't want to say thought, right? We're not about the group thing, but it's like I said, it's that stew. Everyone's coming with that ability to bring in their greatness.
Yeah. Absolutely. And how important is that, just to be sure education and training and be willing to learn? Because a lot of people like want this prestige, but they don't want to really have any contribution or get any commitment where they have to learn, they have to do. So like really knowing what they are going to get into is very important. So I'm glad you're doing this service because I'm sure like a lot of organization will do much better when they have this training. Now, let me ask you about, you have an upcoming workshop in October. So we're in October.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about it. So in October, we have a master class actually that's coming up called Board Basics and Beyond. And this is the beginnings of, hey, you have a board now. What are you all supposed to be doing? Who's on first? What does the president do? What is risk management? How does the secretary show up? We touch on quite a few different areas. And again, we talk a little bit about these building blocks, the diversity and inclusion, training and development, onboarding and recruiting. How do all of these things meld together to help you all create a board that is impactful, as well as um, I, I like to think of it as it's impactful and innovative,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so
And
that's
is this a free masterclass?
yes, ma'am. This one is
Uh,
a free masterclass, and it'll be October 10th. Um, I believe it's at 2 o'clock Central Standard Time. So I'd love to see you all there to get an understanding of what it takes to create that solid foundation for your board.
I love how you put that time, the different time zone for people, like saving them some exercises to do.
Sometimes my math doesn't math that fast, so I want so I want to really put it out there plain.
Yeah, so no one has any excuse. You got the timing, it's totally free. You gotta go and register and just learn, because this is something we have to do our entire life. If you want to stay young, keep learning.
Exactly. I love how you said that. That's the truth.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rosetta. I love having you in the show every single time. Can't wait until to seeing you next time to talk about like different thing. So thank you, guys. This is Echoes of Impact with Noura. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is your host, Noura Almasri, and this is Echoes of Impact with Noura. I have a new guest today. I can't wait to talk to her and let her introduce herself to you so you can know her better. She is an amazing lady. Welcome to the show. Shonet, how are you doing today?
Hi, Nora. Thanks for having me. I'm doing pretty good today. How about you?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much. So I usually like the guests to introduce themselves, like give them some background about what you're doing now, like about yourself and your business.
Yeah, happy to do that. So I have about 12 years of nonprofit and development fundraising experience. And I got my master's degree in English a number of years ago. So I'm very passionate about helping small and or young nonprofits grow their fundraising and development experiences. So yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So what's made you like decided to start your own business and help small and medium nonprofit? Because a lot of people don't want to touch the smaller nonprofit because they always, a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them say, yeah, we don't have the fund yet. So like what's really motivated you to work with this, like nonprofits and like to start your own business to start with?
Yeah, and that's a great question. I think you really hit the nail on the head with that one because a lot of people are, I think, wary of helping or working with smaller nonprofits because of the funding aspect of it. And I think for me, working with local, national, and then global organizations and nonprofits, I really felt that I wanted to see and really know the tangible difference that I was making. And for me, that meant working with the smaller ones because they have the highest need and the most limited capacity. So I realized, starting my own consulting business, I could sort of fill that gap and I could help them do that. Whether or not they want to hire somebody in-house later on the road, or they want to stay consulting with me for a while, that's up to them, but I can help them, not only just reach those financial goals, but hit a place, of being financially stable so that they can just focus on doing the work that they want to be doing. And I can just help them do the fundraising aspect.
Awesome. So do you work with the board members or do you work with the staff usually? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, I primarily work with the staff. So there's a lot of interactions, primarily with the executive directors and sometimes the programmatic staff, depending on what the needs are. So, we figure out where they're hitting some roadblocks and what are their obstacles, and then, what they've tried in the past, what's working, what's not working. And I think more importantly, like what their vision is, where do they want to be going? Where do they want to grow? And then, building out a fundraising plan that can help them reach those goals.
That's awesome. A plan is a must. So a lot of them like miss having a plan. So do you see any resistance to have a plan and do the implementation when you work with them?
I think sometimes there's resistance to change in general. But I think once we walk through the process and we have a plan and then we understand how it's going to be implemented, there's often, I think, a sense of relief because it's one thing, to have a plan and I love planning things and getting things organized. But the implementation stage can be a little bit, I think, nerve-wracking for some people. And that's where I think maybe some fear comes in. So, people always talk about like, what the plan is no good if it's just going to sit on the shelf, which is true, right? And again, like that's where I like to come in. We're like, okay, we have this, that we're going to be doing. How are we going to make it work? And it needs to be an organic document so that it can change as things are changing moving forward. Like if you have a fundraising plan and something happens, like you need to go back to it and make sure that it's still meeting the needs that you want to be reaching.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. So you how do you help people? Like do you go to their place? Do you have an office? Do you work with people nationwide? Do you work virtually with everyone? Like how does that look like?
Yeah. Right now it is primarily virtual because that gives me the opportunity to work with a larger group of organizations throughout the country. I am based in New York, so it is easier for me to meet with folks who are in the New York area and just, see them and be able to go to an office and get some hands-on experience with their organization. But it also depends on what their needs are. Some folks are really happy just to be virtual. And I think a lot of us have gotten used to being virtual and realize that a lot of amazing things can happen that way. So it's a combination of both, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like virtual is really a time saver for everyone, and it's more like you might not be able to meet with someone if it was in person, and if it's virtual, like okay, it's an hour, then it's an hour. It's not like 3 hours. So
Yeah,
like it's a time saver for everyone. I love virtual, to be honest. So like anyone
agreed.
can connect with you then, like no matter where they are, they just can connect with you. How can they connect with you?
Yeah, I mean, they can find me on my website, which is my first name, last name, consulting.com. I'm also on LinkedIn for now. That's the only social media I'm doing professionally because I'm not a huge social media person. But I have enjoyed LinkedIn quite a bit and engaging with folks there. I often do free discovery calls with anybody who is interested in possibly, having my services, or they are struggling with something in their organization and they just want to, brainstorm some ideas and find out where they are, what help they might need. I like to offer that so that, they can, again, get the help that they need without, breaking their budget. And then we can find out like whether or not my services are the best fit. And if they're not, that's totally cool. I can help them find maybe somebody who is, or at least guide them in the right direction, because at the end of the day, it's not necessarily about my business itself. It's about the work that the organizations are doing. And I try to emphasize that with them. So
Awesome. So do you have a favorite? Like, do you have a favorite cause that for organization is, specific mission that you feel you work better than than other nonprofits?
yeah, that's a great question. It's hard to say, like, I think what my favorite is, but I will say I have found in the work that I've already done, I think, most passionate about organizations that are helping women, girls, and gender-based violence. I have a huge soft spot for environmental work, which you might be able to tell by all the green in the
Yeah.
background. And I love doing a lot of different environmental work too. So those, I think, tend to rise to the top because I also feel like, there is a lot of that interconnectedness between people and the world we live in, the environment.
Absolutely. So what's your signature service, would you say?
I'm so glad you asked. I would say my signature service is fractional fundraising, which I'm really digging a little bit more into. So it's, providing a high level of expertise with, all of the background that I have at a fraction of the time and a fraction of the cost to organizations. So, they might have a budget for hiring, an entry-level person that is going to, it's going to take time to train them and to work with them and to get them up to speed, which they might not have that time and capacity to do. They just need to, hit the ground running and raise the money, and then they might be able to do that down the road. So that's where I can come in and I can help them do all of those things at, again, fraction of the time and the cost. And it, they may never want to hire an in-house staff person, but if and when they do, they are more financially ready to do that. And that has been super fun for me.
Nice. So you teach them how to do the fundraising themselves?
It's a little bit of both. We work on a lot together, usually again with the executive director. I'm primarily the one who is doing like the fundraising plan and the grant prospect and the grant writing, things like that. And then we work together to do the implementation itself. So one of the things I like to do is I'm doing a lot of the work with them and for them and giving them the tools that they can use down the road so that maybe they don't need me anymore, which is kind of a goal.
Nice. So you teach them how to fish. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
And then I move on to the next village and I teach them how to fish.
That's awesome. So do you do any grant writing or you're focusing on like just raising funds?
I do a lot of grant writing, actually. Grant writing, prospect research to find new funders, because I feel like that's a lot of analysis and research that it's very time consuming. Same with the grant writing, that again, smaller organizations, they just don't have, the capacity because they need to focus on the work they're doing. So those are the two of the main things I like to take off their plate. So again, as like a fractional fundraiser, that's part of my job, to take things off the plate of either the executive director or whoever is currently doing all of that work, so they can focus on their work and I'll help raise the money.
Awesome. Awesome. That's amazing, because a lot of people really like, no matter how much you teach them, if they don't really, because asking for money, a lot of people like don't like to ask for money. So
Yeah.
it's great that you are able to do that for them. So thank you so much for everything you shared, Shonet. Everything has been great. Do you have last thing you want to tell the audience before the time runs out?
Oh my gosh. One last thing. Gosh, I should have thought more about this, but I will say, one of the best things about working with a variety of organizations is getting to know like their mission and their work in a much, I think, broader, but also more specific way than I would otherwise just being an in-house staff member for one organization. And that is one of the best parts of that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jeanette. It was amazing having you today. Guys, of course. So guys, I go check out the website for Jeanette, see what she's offering, book that call so she can help you and see if you are a good candidate to work with her. It's the time, because this is the year end and this is the time of giving, and you should be prepared as a nonprofit. So go ahead and book the call with Shonet, and we will be right back. This is Echoes of Impact with Noura. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is your host, Noura Almasri, and this is Echoes of Impact with Noura. And we're going to end the show with the end segment with my friends, and a topic that most of you don't like, but guys, you should learn about it, because as we've seen in a previous episode, IRS can take your passport, so you cannot travel anymore. They can do a lot of things, and we're going to talk about what can they do more today with Rolanda. Rolanda, welcome back to the show. How are you today? How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Awesome. Thank you so much. So can you give the audience a little bit background about yourself before we start? So those of them, they did not watch previous episode, they can go watch after the show. But until then, can you let them know who you are and what do you do?
Sure. Again, my name is Rolanda Watson. I am a tax strategist, enroll agent. I've been in the tax industry since the mid-90s. I know that's a little while, but I started my own practice in 2018, and from that time, I became an enroll agent. Enroll agent is comparable to a CPA, except we are credentialed by the Internal Revenue Service, and we're actually here to advocate for the taxpayer. We work for you, the taxpayer, making sure that you get the best out of minimizing your taxes, and that we're able to help you stay compliant with the IRS and speak to the IRS on your behalf. You don't have to deal with them at all. We take care of that for you. So I am here to help people save money and make their tax situation stress-free.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I love how you always say we are working on the taxpayer behalf, because
Yes.
sometimes when people say enrolled agent with the Internal Revenue Service, they think, oh, we don't want to take to these people. So I'm glad you always emphasize this is we work for the clients, not
We
for
work for
the
you.
IRS. We're
Yes.
just like getting this, designation from the IRS. Now, we spoke in the previous episodes about the offering compromise and how IRS can take the passport and affect the travel for anyone.
Yes.
Now, because when people get this IRS letter, often they ignore it, but you mentioned before, like they should directly contact a tax professional, perhaps an enrolled agent. And so can you let us also know what can IRS do? I'm gonna let you break that.
Okay.
I don't want to deliver the bad news.
Sadly, but honestly, the IRS can garnish your wages. What do I mean by that? Let's just say that you have a balance with the IRS and you're trying to juggle things, but you have not made arrangements to pay them. They're sending you letters, they're sending you notices, and for some of my clients, honestly, it's intimidating just to even open the letters. And you're not paying attention to the fact that the IRS is saying, hey, do something or we will do something to you. They'll reach out to your employer because we know they already know where you work. They know how to find you, and they will garnish your wages. And that is one of the worst feelings I believe that you can feel, because you've worked for your income and you go to get paid and they have taken what's in your bank account. And that happens. And we can talk a little bit more about what you can do to stop it or what kind of income can they take. But yes, the IRS can definitely garnish your wages from your bank account.
Wow. So garnishing, taking, and before they even receive it. So garnishing, what I understand is like from the HR. So your HR department will give IRS. Is that how it works?
Yes, it could work in two ways. The IRS
Both
can,
ways. Almost.
yes, they can reach out to your employer, which you definitely don't want, because of course that's communicating your personal things going on with you, and they can garnish that way, but they can also go directly to your bank account. That means communicating with your banking institution and doing a one-time swipe of that moment of your income. And you would then need to get a professional to make sure that you could try to get some of it back, which you can try to get some of it back, but there are certain steps that need to be taken in order for that to happen. But yes.
Yeah, before we get into the steps, now, like when they communicate with the bank, they take the entire check, the entire payment.
They can take whatever is in the account at that time,
levying their account altogether.
yes.
And is it for every paycheck?
No, well, they'll do it at that time for that paycheck, and it can be a continuous levy, which is why you want to get someone to work on your behalf to stop that. And then there's if you have certain things that are a necessity for you to pay, then the IRS they will return some of that, but you need to be working out an arrangement with them.
Okay. So I want to break, go ahead.
Let me share another thing. Many people don't understand that every account that is connected with your name, they have that account. They know that
So if I have a minor child and I have money, but I am the custodial there, they get access to that account and they take the money.
They can. Yes.
So guys, you don't want to ignore those letters. And I want to really say it in a different way for those who might, because it's a tax subject and it might be heavy for some people to like get it from the first time. So if you did not open those letters, you might owe the IRS something. You don't solve the problem. There is a possibility, as Rolanda is saying, they're gonna go and garnish your paycheck, meaning take your paycheck either from your HR department, your employer, or directly from your bank, and that can be continuous. But let's move forward to how do we solve it and what's the possibilities there?
Well, the first thing that I would do, I always encourage you, open the letters. The IRS does not do anything all at once. There is a process and there is a system to everything that they do. So if you open your letters as soon as you get them, even if you don't understand what they're saying, because we understand that the IRS has a way of saying things that most people are like, what does this mean? That's fine. Open the letters, communicate with our office or another tax professional that is able to practice before the Internal Revenue Service. We'll look at the letter and we'll translate. We'll tell you what this letter means and how long you have. I can't emphasize enough how important that is. Open the letters, review the letters, give it to a professional so that they can give you sound instruction, sound recommendation on your next steps. So those people that get their wages garnished, they've probably received at least 3 or 4 letters that have been ignored. Another thing that happens a lot of times is maybe you've moved and the IRS is sending you letters, but you're not getting them. What I would encourage everyone to do is the IRS uses your last tax return to send out information. Let them know when you've changed your address, communicate with them. And once you've done that, you will be notified of those letters.
Absolutely. So if someone moved after they filed the tax return, so can they update their address?
Definitely. You can reach out to the Internal Revenue Service, update your address. If you're working with a professional, you want to let them know, the procedures to update your address with the IRS, and they will immediately do that for you.
Awesome. So what's the solution now? Like, what can IRS, can they return? You said they can return the money. What's the procedure out there? Like, so what should people expect?
Right. Thank you for asking. As soon as you get information, as soon as you find out that your wages have been garnished, you want to retain or hire a professional to call the IRS and speak on your behalf. There are certain qualifications for you to get some of your funds back. Now, I'm not going to say you're going to get all of them back at that one time, but there are certain qualifications to get some of your funds back. You also want to make immediate arrangements to set up some kind of agreement. If it's an installment agreement, or maybe you qualify for one of the other options, paying the IRS back or negotiating with them comes in several forms. Currently not collectible. That means that right now your funds you don't have enough funds to pay them back. And you could qualify for not sending them anything for a little while. Offering compromise. You can't pay them everything, but you can pay them something. We see what you can qualify. Partial payment, installment agreement. That allows you to pay them a certain amount. They will work with you, but you need to work with them. And I always say, everybody doesn't understand what I call IRS talk or IRS ease. That's why it's very important for you to hire a professional to speak on your behalf. As enrolled agents, we are like attorneys. We are not attorneys, but we represent the IRS on your behalf. We talk IRS talk so you don't have to.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's not English. It sounds like English, but it's not really English. So
Right.
I've seen a lot of people, they come after they already spoke to them, and they lose a lot of opportunities. Like, we could help them better if they come in the beginning.
Right.
So do you want to give any example or talk about this a little bit, maybe from your perspective?
So one of the cases, of course, I won't give any details, but I'm working with a client now, and they tried to work with the Internal Revenue Service, and they've tried to send letters, but they didn't necessarily send them in the right way. The IRS has a process for everything. And so in them reaching out to the IRS, they got no response. They got no help. They were frustrated. When we started working together, we've been working through their process. In my practice, we communicate with the IRS consistently, and we communicate with our clients consistently. Now this client, the problem is not solved, but they're at ease because they know that someone is communicating with the IRS, providing them what they need the way that they need it in order to get their situation taken care of. So I definitely recommend, when you get the letters, start off with a professional, have someone in your back pocket to help you speak to the IRS and deal with them.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rolanda, for all these valuable information. How can people reach out to you to work with you?
Yes. Well, my website is mytaxlady.net. That's mytaxlady.net. In that website, you can schedule a quick appointment with me, or if you want to, you can give the office a call. The number is 832-431-4844. And we'd be glad to do an initial 15-minute consultation with you free of charge to just kind of answer any lingering questions you have and see if we're a good fit to work together moving forward.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rolanda. So you heard Rolanda saying, go and talk to her if you receive that letter. If you have any issue with taxes, you want to reach out to Rolanda, and she works with people across the nation because she's an enrolled agent and
50 states.
represent people everywhere. So thank you
Right.
so much, Rolanda. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here with me, for sticking with me until the end. I love Tuesdays. I love being here with you. I love talking to you, and I love hearing from you. If you want to be connected to any of our guests, if you want to be on the show, or if you want something to be on the show that's going to benefit you, we are here to make that impact. And this was your host, Noura Almasri. Until next time, keep making an impact.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.